Preventing unwanted visitors from stealing property is a challenge in farm country. Corporal Palmer Clifford with the Goochland County Sheriff's Office says, unlike their urban neighbors, farmers usually have a lot more acres to protect.
You're talking 3 or even more, upwards of 100. There's a couple of properties that are over 1,000 acres. So access points is a big one. You have your typical driveways, and you may have 3 or 4 of those for one large property. But then there's nothing else around, so people can access coming off of an adjacent property on one side. Sometimes they can park on the roadway and just enter through a field or the wooded area. So you just can't secure it reasonably with finances through a fence or anything, because they'll still find a way to get in and approach whatever property. And if they're trying to steal something and they've already got it in mind, they're going to go after it.
A recent rash of stealing catalytic converters from vehicles has hit urban and rural vehicle owners alike. Kerry Harding in Amelia County says his son caught 2 thieves red-handed in November of 2021.
My son, who was hunting, came up on 2 guys at the back of our farm that were stealing some parts from us. And he called me, and we eventually found them as they were fleeing on the 4-wheelers, and I followed one of them. And he stopped, we got his 4-wheeler, and the police came and did investigation. And then after many months, they finally narrowed it down to who it was and arrested them. And they've been to court. One of them has been convicted, and the other one is to be sentenced in October.
Harding says the thieves took equipment and caused damage worth about $12,000 and cost him and his son several days away from the farm testifying in the court cases. In nearby Nottoway County, farmer Bo Toth says both an ATV and a pickup truck were stolen from him, worth $15,000. Neither of those vehicles have been recovered. The pickup was stolen while sitting on a rural road with a flat tire.
When we went to get the vehicle, somebody had came with a rollback. We could see the evidence of the mark on the ground and loaded up the vehicle and stole it sometime during the night. And then about a month and a half after that, we had a 4-wheeler sitting up here at the grain bin for one night. We generally keep it at the house, and somebody stole that. Prior to that, they tried to cut the catalytic converter out of another pickup that we had while it was sitting at our working facility where we work cattle at.
Toth feels there's been an increase in property crimes due to more drug problems in the community. He'd like to see more arrests and convictions, but he realizes it's a big challenge.
When somebody steals something to get very little gain, whether that be $5 or $500, it just lasts them for a little short while until they need it again, and then they'll do it again. And a lot of these guys study on what they're going to do. They have somebody go out and spot the stuff while somebody else comes along and steals the stuff. They've got it down to an art, for sure.
According to statistics from the Virginia State Police, the number of arrests for all types of crime has declined slightly in rural Virginia the past 2 years. Clifford says the pandemic certainly had an impact, along with recent changes in state crime laws. The Virginia State Police help, but for most rural residents, the local sheriff's department is their first line of defense against thieves. Clifford says he and his fellow officers do their best, but there are 290 square miles in Goochland County alone to cover, and often only a few deputies on patrol. His suggestion to rural property owners is take what steps you can to reduce a crime of opportunity.
So if I were to recommend property for this, with a couple $1,000s worth of hay bales, you got an expensive tractor and a utility trailer, it's always good to take the keys out of the tractor, lock up the utility trailer the best you can. Any door that accesses the interior for tools or equipment, put a lock on it. You can put a lock on the trailer hitch. You can also get solar powered lights and have those stationed around the property. They can be motion censored. Another thing that you can do that we recommend is if you can get a trail camera. Those often run on battery and they are motion censored, and they can sometimes, if they have the satellite service, or I'm sorry, the cell service, they can send that to your phone. If you're out of town and you're close with your neighbors, they can keep an eye on the property and let you know if something's going on. And you can also contact the sheriff's office and have us do a vacation check if you're going to be out of town, and we'll check your property periodically.
The good news is sometimes a property owner does get it back, even if someone steals a tractor.
Earlier this year, during the snow, there's a tractor at one of the shopping centers they were using to plow the parking lot. Somebody came in the middle of the night with a trailer, loaded it up, and then headed out of town with it. It was actually recovered a few days later in Virginia Beach, where he had posted it on Facebook to sell it. So we were able to contact Virginia Beach and tracked it down that way and got it recovered and brought it back to the owner.
Harding and Toth agree. Landowners have to step up their own security to reduce theft in the countryside.
No, you just have to be aware, especially if you store equipment away from your farm. You know, you just have to check on it, but it can happen overnight. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Security cameras, that would be nice, but that's another problem. So, you know, I guess you just have to be aware the best you can be, but it's hard.
You have to be more vigilant. We got some game cameras that sends pictures to our telephones, and that's a monthly fee and then the initial cost of it, and it's just a lot of headache that, you know, its mindset is you went from living in a rural area that you not lock the doors at night to now you lock them during the day on the vehicles, and at night you don't even leave them around unless you got them with a camera on them, or it's just a big inconvenience. We rent farms that's in several localities, and it's hard to get that stuff moved home every day.
Higher fuel costs and weather worries already keep many farmers up at night. Now, just like their urban cousins, farmers have to be on their guard for criminals looking for a quick score. In Goochland County, Virginia, I'm Ricky Gibson reporting.